Hey there, welcome back for another TingleCon 2021 panel. I'm here joined by a bunch of very talented ASM artists. We're here for our educational and informative panel. So we've got ASMRctica, Let's Find Out ASMR, Library of Whispers, and ASMR Chess, who I'm going to bring up on the screen right after I do this introduction here. But anyway, I want to say thank you so much for joining us today. So why don't we go ahead and just jump into this? I want to be respectful of your time. We've sort of started off every panel with just some basic ASMR questions because I think there are a lot of people who haven't seen your channel and maybe they're curious how you got into ASMR. So why don't we begin here? Also, it is TingleCon, so we want to, have a bit of a love fest here, show our mutual appreciation. So, who are some channels that you really enjoy or think are underrated? You might recommend.
Well, I actually wrote a list.
Mhm.
So
Fantastic.
let me give a shout out to a few people that I think are really, really good and I enjoy listening to myself. So Secret Scholar ASMR is really cool. Kind of ASMR that I like to listen to. Sounds Curious, another really underrated ASMR artist, I think. I really like ASMR Chemistry, even though I'm kind of more of a humanities, literature, artsy kind of person, really. I like her voice. And Marion H is great. Some really interesting stuff that she reads out. She's really into books as well, which is my thing. And then I put Yang Haiying at the bottom because she's not strictly an ASMR artist, but she has most relaxing voice, and she's an artist, and she's actually done really well over the past 6 months. So she's done really well. But when I first started watching her about 2 years ago, she was only on about I don't know 20-30,000, which I know is a lot, but not really big. So yeah, they're the people that I kind of I'm really interested in at the moment.
Can I jump in? Because you mentioned two creators that I'm really into as well. Secret Scholar, I just absolutely adore. And Marion H, actually. Yep. You said somebody who had 20,000 subs and she was a small channel. I think Marion H has 500 subs or something. But she's brilliant. Okay. She's brilliant.
Yeah.
And then I really like Dido ASMR. Because he's a really cool guy and he also does chess videos, and not many people do ASMR chess videos. And then there's a girl called Decaf Math that helps me get back into math a little bit. And the French Whisperer, he's probably not underrated because he's a bit of a legend in this kind of ASMR style, but I think he's worth mentioning because he's just so good. And many more, but those are the guys I'm listening to primarily right now.
Mm-hmm.
I actually don't I don't quite listen to ASMR. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I make it and I just think about like it's too close to home, I guess, or whatever, to actually fall asleep. But Chicho is I guess the one exception, because he's so interested in comic books and he's so well versed in comic books. And I know nothing about comic books, so I think it's a very nice disconnect. It doesn't remind me of any of my daily responsibilities, so it helps me relax. But at the same time, I can learn like a lot. Like he's very invested in like the history, but also the trading of comic books. And so yeah, I just like to give him a shout out. He's been doing it since like at least a decade now. He was one of the original, I think, on YouTube. So he's criminally underrated.
Yeah, I feel the same as you, Rich. I don't listen to ASMR at the moment, or for the last year or something. I do listen to stuff to fall asleep, but not ASMR videos anymore. Maybe because I'm doing it and making videos, and I find other types of videos are as good as fall asleep to as ASMR actually. But I have also written a list, and we have I have written down Tingledom ASMR. Her channel was called Tingles with Flyby before. She has made content for like almost 10 years, I guess, or like from 2013 maybe. A lot of maps and informative videos that are really good, and also an artist who has created videos for a long time is the Whisper Corner. Also really good content, I think, and also that's content that are like, we're in the same field as my videos, like a lot of maps, a lot of information and things like that.
Yeah, and I guess Gaslamp in that same vein, because he's really underrated. I don't know how he doesn't have more subscribers, but to round off our Atlas collab that we did.
Yeah, exactly. Gaslamp too.
Yeah.
I agree with Gaslamp as well. It's really good.
Yeah, all those are absolutely. Some of them I especially love Decaf Math and Whisper Corner and also Tingles with Flyby is amazing. Those are all fantastic. And you got to mention the French Whisper as well. Let's move on to this, and of course everyone that was mentioned. But let's move on to the next question here, because I think this is going to be a question that a lot of people are quite curious about. So, what was your first ASMR experience?
Okay, well, my first experience really was, I was really quite young. I was probably, I don't know, first year of infant school, so 5 or 6. Well, an experience that I really remember, and I think this is why the trigger for me is generally speaking in a low voice or whispering in books, and that was just being at school as a child, sitting on the floor with a bunch of other kids in the afternoon, and when we had story time, and the teacher it would be a very low voice, and I remember everything felt very dark because we were in a big hallway with a wooden floor. It wasn't Hogwarts, by the way. I wish. Yeah, so I remember like a big children's book and the slowly turning of pages, very soft voice, and I remember literally being lulled to sleep with the rhythm of the sound of the words being read to me. And I think probably that's my first experience of what I didn't know until about 4 or 5 years ago is now called ASMR, but yeah, I would say that's probably the earliest. And then as soon as I kind of noticed it, then it seemed to accelerate a little bit in that certain voices, even members of my family, my grandmother had a very soft voice. She used to read a lot of poetry to me and that kind of thing. And so certain voices used to sort of make me feel sleepy and relaxed and happy. And yeah, I think that's probably how it started with me a long time ago.
I agree with that. The certain voices thing, that's one of the triggers that you can't say in advance that you will like this video. You have to listen to the voice, and if it's a certain voice, you can't describe it, but it gives you ASMR. So
yeah.
The word rhythm really stuck out to me as a great descriptor when you said the rhythm in her voice and the page turning. I think my grandma gave me like, she created the environment for my first like I guess when I was old enough, 6 to 8 years old, something like that. I remember she was going through and for some reason she was clipping out pictures of all the presidents from like a newspaper or something, some special article they were doing, and she was I don't know, I think it was just because it tends to, for me, be in older people, because I guess because they just are less less energetic. They're more methodical and more graceful, just typically. And that somehow, I don't know quite how, but circles back to the word rhythm. They're in a nice, slow, methodical, they're very deliberate, and just it's so calming to me. It just I can't help but get like the actual goosebumps, the tingles, and I rarely get that, but that was definitely my first experience.
Yeah.
Chess, did you want to talk a little bit about your first ASMR experience?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I had my phone went off. so unprofessional. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. No problem.
Sorry about it.
For me, I was a teacher back in like 5th grade or something. And it was just a guy telling us about how to do woodworking. But he was so calm and so methodical about explaining it. And I just remember I could listen to this. Why isn't everything like this? I had this like storm in my head all the time and it just died down. I was just like, yeah, woodworking. Apparently woodworking is really cool. I couldn't put my finger on it, what it was, but later I understood, okay, it's because he was methodical and just emanated calm right into me. Didn't get actually triggered. Like I don't very rarely get the ASMR, like the tingles and all of that. And that's also not really why I'm in ASMR. It's just for the calm, sort of the clarity of being really calm. And then a little bit later, I was at a recording studio, still just a young boy. And I was allowed to put the headphones on, like the really expensive headphones, and go on up to the really expensive microphone and just go, hello. And it was just, oh, that is awesome. I can hear all the details. I've always been fascinated with that. So that's the first for me. Didn't get into ASMR until, like 7 years ago, 8 years ago or something, when I started the channel.
Interesting. It is interesting, that dichotomy, especially you see younger creators when ASMR has always been there, but there's a certain age where ASMR didn't have a name, before a certain point. And I think that's just really interesting to hear how everyone came to be with that. So why don't we jump into the next question there? And that question is going to be, so maybe the people out there may not know your channel. Why don't you tell people a little bit, how did you get into creating a channel? And what is your channel?
Okay. Sorry.
Okay, I start. I just, I remember I was searching for sleep aid videos for some reason 5 years ago. So I guess, I can't remember it, but I guess I needed some help to sleep for the first time, because I hadn't really looked for those types of videos before. And then I stumbled upon the term ASMR, and I had no idea what that was. So I Googled it, and I found an article in Swedish about it. And I created the channel just a couple of months after, because I got an idea. I wanted to try to make a video for myself to fall asleep, just an experiment, because I had stumbled upon some videos that I really liked, some map that were with a map topic, the map trigger. That is my favorite trigger, and it wasn't. There weren't many map videos, ASMR videos at all at that time, but there were a few. So I found. I think Rich, maybe you had made one or two map videos that were that I could find at that time. Cool. But then I wanted to do some kind of map video myself, and I created. It was like an experiment. And I didn't enjoy listening to my own voice, so I just put it out and hoped, or just to see if someone would like it. So that's how I started it.
Was that the one where you were drawing Europe by memory?
No, it's the bus ride, Google Map bus ride through Sweden. Okay. That's my very first video. Yeah.
That's right. Okay, that one's great.
Yeah, that is a cool one.
Okay.
Sorry, Kate. Sorry. I'm sorry.
No.
Oh,
should we make an order to answer these questions in, so we don't talk over each other all the time?
Oh, sure. No, please go, Kate.
Okay, sorry. Sorry, that's a very British sorry. I'll be saying sorry all the time. So I think for me, because it's very much about voice and reading, and so I realized that I was listening to lots of audiobooks, And I realized that there were certain voices that I couldn't get past a couple of pages of listening to an audiobook without realizing I was nodding off, and that it was very relaxing. And I thought, but then I also wonder whether I also have, is it misophonia? Because some voices actually really grate on me as well. And some of the books that I wanted to be were looking for, so some of the voices that were associated with the audiobooks that I was reading, I wasn't really enjoying listening to the voice. So I went onto YouTube and I thought, surely somebody has read some of the classics on YouTube and it might be a voice that I want to listen to. And I just randomly came across, I can't really remember who it was. I don't even think it was an ASMR channel. And I listened to the voice, I think it was, might have been a Bronte novel or something. And that kind of, the way that YouTube works, the next thing I knew, I was being offered sort of ASMR videos, that reading videos, just random ones. And didn't know what ASMR was. And then started listening to certain people doing that kind of thing. But there didn't appear to be a lot on YouTube, or at least any channels devoted to what I now realized was called ASMR reading, or even just sort of page turning, or softly spoken descriptive kind of, historical or scientific, or, that kind of thing. And so similar to ASMRctica, I just thought, well, maybe I can do this myself. I have a lot of books, I like to read, and that's how I started. And I set myself up in my garden shed, which was a really bad move because all you could hear was the outside noise. I had no experience of recording. I think I just had, a headphone mic. And so my first couple of efforts were really, really poor. And I put them on YouTube anyway, even though, so my first couple are like badly lit, and I'm saying a lot, just really not good. But they seem to sort of remarkably, people seem to be searching for the same kind of thing. And so I, that's how I kind of started. It was people watching, commenting, please read this. Can you read this for me? And that's how it started, really. Then it was just a hobby. I had, it grew very fast as well, which really surprised me, because I thought it would be like a niche kind of thing. How many people really just want to listen to me read, Wuthering Heights or something? Yeah, actually quite a lot of people. So that's how it kind of started with me. It was searching for something I couldn't find, and then deciding that I was going to give it a go myself. And that's how it started. Really.
Seems to be the common thread, because that's my story as well.
Okay.
Just searching. I think maybe Ephemeral Riff was sort of the closest, because he talked to I guess he was just a little bit, he's always been a little bit unique and different than most channels. But I was specifically looking for astronomy and philosophy. I don't think I found any philosophy, but I actually queued it up when he was reading.
Still doesn't exist.
Yeah, right. I know.
There's not a lot.
This
I have a reading of Inquiry by David Hume on my channel. Just saying.
Oh. Okay. I stand corrected. But this girl was the
Go check that out later.
Astronomy video that first got me. Her name is Shark Hunter 007. I don't think she makes videos anymore, but she made quite a few videos and a couple astronomy videos. And ever since her, I always try to shout her out, because she inspired me to make my first video, which was just me browsing through an astronomy book. And it's anyways, that's when I realized there was like a very specific type of content I was looking for in ASMR. And that's kind of why I started doing my educational bent to my channel.
Ryan, I have exact same story. I couldn't sleep, looked for like I was into guided meditation, got suggested something called ASMR, started listening to that, It's like, oh, this is really, like, they're really focusing on the voice. It's really nice. I really like that. They're all about, it's all makeup tutorials. After a while, I was like, I don't use makeup at all. So, but I'm really into chess. It's like searching chess. Is there some chess? There was like one video by the legendary ephemeral Rift, where he was teaching the rules of chess. And I know the rules of chess. This video is really nice. Well, I'll just make a channel myself then. And then, my channel only really started growing like 5 months ago, but I did get views and I did get comments, and the comments were like really positive. I was like, whoa, that was such a kick. Do you know that feeling? It's like making something and then you get those comments where people saying, I used this to fall asleep. I couldn't sleep, but now I could. It's like, wow, that got just such a kick. And then I just continued on. Yeah, and if people don't know, I can't tell from the name, I do ASMR chess videos.
Absolutely. Those are incredible stories. And I do think a lot of people came to it in that same way. So although I will say the people who first did it, I think they were watching Bob Ross videos and probably just decided to oh, this painting's so relaxing. I did want to touch on one thing you said, Kate, because it is something we're going to talk about in the con, which is the misophonia thing. Just briefly, there is a huge connection between people who experience misophonia and ASMR. We are having the ASMR network during the con, who's Julia Perillo, who's one of the most famous ASMR researchers. And I believe it was her and her team. I think that there's a high correlation. So there is something to be said there. So let's go ahead and move on to the next section of our interview here, because that was really fascinating. But we want to get into the meat of the process here, because there's a lot of creators who are watching this. In fact, probably a good chunk of the audience. So why don't we talk about your creative process? So what is your creative process? I mean, just guide us through, because I think educational and informative ASMR is very unique, because you have to learn a subject, or you have to have another, you're not just necessarily tapping on something. It does require some sort of expertise. So why don't take me through your creative process from the beginning of an idea to you're recording the video. Maybe just guide the audience through that.
Well, I know with me, there's yeah, I'll just start. I know there's no process to it other than a repeated. I'm very impulsive when I choose a subject. I'll just be browsing Wikipedia or something online, and then just dive down a rabbit hole, and then usually I'll learn. I'll have a burst of inspiration, and I'll get 25% of the project really done, and then I'll just never readdress it, and I'll be too eager to start a new project that I found on the side. So most of my projects, I always try to keep myself reeled in, and at least stick to the topic enough. I got to work on my focus and discipline, but yeah, generally I try to not keep to a rigid process, but obviously you do, like you said, you want to have some semblance of expertise, because I think that does add to the experience overall. So yeah, me generally, I try to be creative and to get the initial inspiration and really pursue that through a really, I keep myself open and let myself explore many tangents. And then I guess towards the editing side of it, I remember I had an English teacher in college, first year English in college. She always said, be two different people when you're writing, be free and open and creative. And then the next day she literally had us make a little cheap ball cap and put on a hat that said editor, and be like a whole different person. Pretend you're being an objective third party person to look at what you're doing, to really, trim it up. So I generally try to follow that process, but it's never that simple. It's always pretty chaotic.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go on.
I guess the chaotic side, we can't get around that, because it's when you create stuff, you don't have to navigate chaos to go find all the different ideas. If you're too structured, I think many people will just just not get all the ideas because you are looking in the same direction all the time. What I do is usually for the typical ASMR chess video, so I'll find a famous chess game that fascinates me for whatever reason. It could be the impact, like the last one I did was the first time a computer defeated a reigning world champion. It's a very, very interesting historical moment, and it has a lot of implications. Deep Blue, yeah, in 1997. And there's a lot of implications for a lot of stuff. Artificial intelligence and the Turing test and game theory and a lot of stuff. And what I'll do is I'll analyze the game until I know all the moves by heart. And I have asked myself all the most pressing questions. Why did they put the knight there? Why can't this bishop just be captured? What is the point of this move? And all of this stuff. And I try to, ask all the questions that a beginner would ask. And I'm fortunately not good enough at chess so that I just think it's obvious. I am bad enough at chess that I don't think all these things are obvious. I learned chess as an adult, so I can remember the process of thinking, why would they do that? And I just try to ask myself all those questions and just repeat it and repeat the game and analyze the game until I have internalized it. So I just really master the game. And then I try to find a way to structure the story. Why is this relevant? What is the progress of the game? How does this early move impact this later decision 20 moves later and stuff? And that is the basic creative process for me, is getting deep enough into the game to really understand it and feel that I master it. Now I'm trying to create change or challenge myself, and I'm trying to learn more formal ways of telling a story. So I'd like to, because I have experimented with really telling chess games like a story, like see it from the point of this bishop who maybe delivers the final checkmate or whatever, and just make it into a story. And I'm trying to learn about that now and maybe get a little bit more organized. So that's me.
Okay. Well, I really don't have a process. I'm glad that everybody else doesn't really, because I thought that if I didn't, maybe I was doing something wrong. Because predominantly my channel is about reading and books and magazine articles, history articles, and that kind of thing. I tend to kind of just read something that I fancy reading that day. And because I'm pretty lo-fi as well, so a lot of my videos are sort of shot from the top down, so you generally just see my hands. So yeah, I would say that I have my my recording table set up most of the time and my camera ready, and I kind of just grab a book. I don't often know what I'm going to do literally 10 minutes before I decide I'm going to record something. I do get quite a lot of requests now, so I read passages of things that people ask me to do. Sometimes people ask me to read things that are either way too new, so the copyright issue, or I just it's something that I wouldn't really enjoy reading myself. So there's a little bit of me wanting to enjoy making videos anyway. So everything I read, I would read anyway. I don't kind of unless it's a particular request and it's something that I haven't read before or I don't know anything about, and I'll kind of try and get a copy of something, and if I like it, I'll read it. So yeah, and a lot of the show and tell videos that I do now generally involve books and what else? That just I did in the early days. I used to get talking about makeup videos and nail varnish videos and things. I used to get I don't know if it's just because I'm female. I used to get a lot of requests, can you show us your makeup collection? And I was like, it's not really what I'm kind of, it's not really what I want to do. There's plenty of that out there. You don't need me to do that. You don't need a middle-aged woman showing you about makeup. It's like, if you want it, it's somewhere else. There's tons of that stuff. So yeah, my process is incredibly simplistic, which is, I think I'll read this today, shoot it, record it, edit it briefly. I don't really change anything in the editing process particularly. If the cat appears, or there's a barking dog in the background, or there's a bit of noise outside, I kind of just leave it in. Because the other thing that I would say is that the kinds of videos that I do like are naturalistic as well. I'm not that keen on heavily processed voices and heavily processed edited videos. I don't like that stuff that's very cut as well. So, cut from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next. I like something that is just almost as though it's somebody in the next room. I like that personal connection with just an ordinary person who just happens to be reading something to me. So it's that's it, really. Simple.
Yeah, I can relate to a lot of what you've been saying now, that you want to have like very naturalistic feel in your videos, that you're talking from heart about something that you know a lot about. I actually have a new, my videos have like evolved a bit, or my process has changed, because I've got a lot of requests the last couple of years, and there are maps. Viewers are requesting maps that I haven't heard of, and I get, but I read it again and again. Please do this Lord of the Rings map. Do this, and then there are like games that I've never played or anything, and I actually I find it so fantastic to get all these requests that people want you to do a video about their favorite topic. So I actually enjoy spending a lot of time on research now, like trying to learn about the game without starting to playing it, but like watching a lot of videos. So I spend a lot of time now in the research. So I like, and it feels good to me because I'm learning something new, even if it's nothing that I would look for if it wasn't in this context. I really enjoy learning about new things. Then when I'm meeting new people, I can start to talk about new topics. It's like it enriches me a lot personally that I get all this new stuff that I learn about, that people around in the world like. So it's really good, and also a lot of different countries around the world that they request and everything. So my process is actually listening to the requests a lot, and then starting doing research, and then it's like trying to put it together and try to make a video where it's like I know a lot about this from heart. So that's, I guess, it's my process.
That's really interesting. I think that says something, especially about educational, informative ASMR. It is that expertise to some degree. The passion comes through with each video. So why don't we jump into something a little more? I think this is an issue that a lot of creators face, and I think it'd be interesting to hear your perspective on this. So you maybe you have some friends or family, and you tell them, I make ASMR. Go on Google, type in ASMR, and the first video that loads up is like maybe something a little bit risque. Maybe is a nice way to put that. So, what would you say to people, the criticisms that maybe ASMR is just tapping on a microphone, or it's overly sexualized, something like that? And have you had experience like that?
I have some thoughts on that, which is, I don't think you should consider that a criticism. I think it's a very accurate description of a lot of ASMR, that some people are just tapping a microphone. There's nothing wrong with that. Some people are making sexualized content. There's nothing wrong with that. It is a bit annoying for people like us that we have to sort of justify it, but I think the process, like a lot of I have a lot of friends, and when they just thought, what are you doing? You whispering about chess? Why? That's so weird. Is it a sexual thing? It must be a sexual thing. And then after some years, because we've been doing the channel for 7 years or whatever, at some point they got their ASMR triggered by something. Somebody came to me. It's like, I watched somebody cut a piece of soap, and I get it now. And I get why there's all these different kind of things, because I never knew that I would really enjoy that. But it was amazing. And they started explaining, it's like, I know, that was ASMR. And that's why it's cool. So I think the taboo is just getting smaller and smaller because more and more people have experienced ASMR themselves. So just it gets more and more normal. I have one just little thing I'd like to say about the sexual thing, that absolutely nothing wrong with that, inherently wrong with that at least. But I feel that a subgroup of creators also in ASMR are knowingly profiting from unhealthy parasocial relationships. And I think those creators are exploiting lonely and vulnerable people, and I don't consider that a noble way to earn a living. I don't want to slag anyone off or anything like that, but I think we should say that loudly sometimes, because people, and I don't, just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I think you're gonna get exploitative, is that the word? People in any domain, who are just trying to earn a quick buck, and I think that's probably that. That's the ASMR's version of people doing underhanded things to just earn a quick buck. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but I think I was thinking about it yesterday when Nathan texted me the questions, and I can't flesh this out, but to me it seems to have a deep connection to, or at least it points to how deep the sense of ASMR is, in that it overlaps with the sexualized element, because sex is such a crucial part of the human experience in the body and the biology. It's so deeply, integrated into our instincts. I think ASMR is, and I want to do a video on this. So I've thought about this for a little bit, just briefly, but I do think it has a fundamental, it has something very, very crucial in that, like there's instances with, like the famous psychological experiments where they put a monkey in a cage with a soft animal versus like a very hard metal animal, mother figure, like a substitute for a mother, and it's always very apparent that the monkey with the soft, nurturing, warm, even if it's not an actual living thing, it just thrives much more. And there's been instances where orphans not tended to do cognitively are like impaired in the future, as opposed to orphans who were handled physically just with touch. It seems to be a big thing. And I think that ASMR chess, using the term parasocial, that actually I hadn't heard that until just recently, a month or two ago, and that's such an interesting phenomenon in the age of the internet now, is that we have the internet is increasingly almost supplanting the actual physical real world social interactions that we have. And so I think it provides a very healthy, beneficial substitute. Some aspects you can't quite get. You can't get smell and physical touch, but I think we're so hardwired to respond to touch that even the illusion of hearing it and just seeing it on a screen is enough to like kind of satiate. I think it's like an instinctual, like it's almost like sex is almost a biological requirement, just like eating and hunger, eating and drinking are. I think touch is almost a biological requirement as well, to just for whatever reason. I can't really flesh that out here, but I think it just speaks to how important ASMR is, and how how much it benefits mental and physical health, I would say.
Yeah, if I can just connect one comment to that. I agree completely, and I think the way that ASMR can help people overcome or combat anxiety, for instance, is absolutely fantastic. Mm-hmm. And that is why I'd like to just point out that as a creator, you have a responsibility. Like if you take these huge channels that are able to do this and help these people, and you give them the power to say, and you know what, if you just angle this a little bit, people will donate insane amounts of money to you. And it must be so tempting. And I don't think we have a culture where a lot of stuff is being criticized rightly, but I don't think this is being criticized really. I think it should. I think we should say, you have an accentuated responsibility to not exploit these people, because if you are an anxious, lonely person looking to satiate your need for somebody to look after you, somebody to care for you, somebody to like you, then you're so vulnerable. You really shouldn't exploit that. That's yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that after having had my channel going for 2.5 years, it never occurred to me at first that there would be a responsibility that I would have to have for the people that watch, particularly my regular viewers and subscribers. And I'm fully aware as a female on YouTube that some people will perhaps associate whispering, whisper reading, whisper talking with some kind of sexual motivation. And I don't know why people, I still don't really know why people listen to the channel and why it's done quite well. And I think people have different reasons for that. I don't necessarily associate what I do with a sexual thing, but I know from, particularly as I've got a bit bigger, I certainly have had emails from usually men asking me to do certain things, which unfortunately I've had to block quite a few people and block them on email and that kind of thing. And while I haven't got a problem with women, and I can only talk as a woman myself, doing an obviously sexualized ASMR channel, that's not what mine is. And if somebody finds what I do sexual, there isn't really much I can do about that in a way. It's kind of up to them how they want to watch it or what they want to, what they're using my channel for. But I realized that there was a responsibility to people who were watching every night for relaxation, even for company. I get lots of emails from really very, very lovely, genuine people who may be lonely or need some company and just find, maybe even not even using my videos for ASMR as such, but just to enjoy, to listen to somebody that they feel like they know a little bit. I mean, obviously, I am a stranger to them, but they're used to my voice and they like to listen to me reading on an evening. So I think that with my channel, I think people listen to the channel for different reasons, and I don't really have a problem with that. It's only when it impacts me personally, and I get sort of comments, or, comments that unwelcome comments, shall I say, unwelcome emails, that I don't really want to engage in that kind of stuff. I don't know whether that makes any sense. But yeah, there feels like a responsibility to to certain people, to everybody actually who watches, that I didn't realize I would have to engage in that kind of responsibility at the beginning. And now I feel like I kind of have a responsibility. I'm happy with that responsibility. I just want to produce stuff that relaxes people, and that's it. I'm not in it for any other reason than that, if that makes sense. So it's just,
it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. As a woman, you kind of can't get away from certain people thinking that what you're doing is almost certainly sexualized. Whispering in somebody's ear, it's kind of, it is, isn't it? I mean, there's no getting away from that, really. It doesn't really matter whether I'm reading Wuthering Heights to somebody in a whisper. But like I say, it's kind of more, it's when it impacts me in a negative way that bothers me. So,
do you get a lot of that?
Fortunately not. I mean, I do get it, and I have had a couple of problematic, I have had a couple of issues I've had to kind of report to YouTube. I generally don't get it, but obviously the more subscribers I get, the more people watch. And I also, I am a middle-aged woman as well. So I imagine that the younger women get more issues with that kind of thing, I think, maybe than women of my age. I think, I don't know. I guess that could be true.
I think that's probably, if you have a big channel, if you're a young, pretty girl, you have a big ASMR channel, feel so lucky that I don't have to deal with with what these girls probably have to deal with.
Yeah, I would say that some of it, I would say over the past 3 or 4 months, can almost be a little bit stalky as well, as in, and that's where you have to kind of just nip that in the bud straight away. I've had to block people from my emails, and that's been a little bit of an eye opener to me. But unfortunately, I don't get much of it, which is great, and I can kind of deal with it.
ASMRctica, do you want to add something there, perhaps?
Yeah, I guess in the type of ASMR videos that I have been watching, it's like in this field, in the educational, informative ASMR channels. I think the community around it and all the comment sections are so interesting, and it's like a lovely community, really. And you can really read how people get helped by ASMR in various ways, like how ASMR helped them focus, sleep with anxiety, depression, addictions, and various mental disorders. So when you get this feedback through the comments, you really understand that it's not a sexual thing. But of course, there are a lot of other types of niches of ASMR, like you say, microphone, I don't know, ear licking or anything. There are a lot of different niches, and of course the comment sections can be totally different in those types of videos. But I mean, it's so different. It's a total different it's very clear if you read the comments on, for example, I guess a lot of our videos, that it's not like a sexual thing. But maybe that wasn't the question, really. But
actually, well, it is definitely answering. I mean, I think this is just in general a really hotly debated topic in the ASMR community, because I think there are multiple perspectives on it, and I think part of the con, I think, because it's such a hot button issue, we're just hearing what everyone thinks. I will say, for my own self, we are, like I said, interviewing the ASMR network. I think science might be able to shed some light onto that aspect, and maybe provide some hard evidence. So I look forward to hearing more about that. Let's actually jump into the informative part here, because I think that touches on, and again, Library of Whispers, I think you also touch on a really important issue for content creators, both male and female, because again, there is fetish mining in these things where, as a creator, you can feel like a little bit concerned, and there are some issues there. But let's go ahead and talk about what is the role of education and informative, and like essentially, what does ASMR bring to the table in the educational side of things? Is there something that makes ASMR a more effective medium than, say, maybe TV or listening to an audiobook or something like that, or just in a regular voice, or for example, like I'm doing now, in like a radio presenter voice? Is there something about ASMR that makes it kind of unique?
I have something to say about that, because I watch a lot of educational videos, especially when I'm doing research for my own videos. But and since I'm not talking English as a first language, I find that the videos on YouTube, for example, are very fast and quick, and all the gaps, the pauses are cut. So it's just information in English, and I had to be really concentrated. I had to like rewind and watch again and again. And I think that to teach something or talk about something in a very slow pace can be really good for some people to learn in a better way, in a more effective way. So definitely, if they don't fall asleep, because I don't think you learn when you're falling asleep, but as long as you're just watching it for learning something, I think it's really good when you hear it in a slow pace, and you don't have to rewatch it. The information, like you get the information maybe on the first time you watch it.
Yeah, I agree completely. I would just say on top of comprehension, just general comprehension, and how that would correlate with the rate at which you're being bombarded with typical YouTubers making very quick jump cuts. I think some people, it might come down to a personality thing, and I think maybe ASMR in general probably attracts more introvert, more of the same type of personality, whatever that might be. But like just the positivity in most of our overwhelming positivity, most of our comments probably speaks to that. Just how it's like 95 to 99% all positive, supportive comments. And I think that says a lot about the type of people ASMR attracts. And I think some people are okay with the in the classroom, that wacky, very very loud Bill Nye, the science guy type presentation. But also I haven't gotten many comments, but I've gotten one or two over the last year that someone said their teacher, and maybe it was on a movie day or something like that, actually showed one of my videos about the planets or something. Wow. In the classroom. And I was very amazed, and it made me think about that some kids might be just personality wise more receptive to the information if it's presented slower.
Sounds like a good day when somebody informs you that you're being used in a school.
Yeah, it was very rewarding.
I also think that there really is great potential in informative educational ASMR, or in my case, what I would call instructive ASMR, because I teach how to do a thing, not just about the thing, but how to do the thing, how to play chess well and stuff. In many ways, for instance, if you learn deeply, you often learn slowly. So if I spend 1 hour explaining something very slowly, you might, if you are just focusing on that, and maybe it's easy for you to focus on that because it's pleasant for you to listen to, then you may get a very deeply rooted understanding instead of a superficial understanding. Sometimes I think about people going to school and they learn how to pass exams, and the way you are taught to study, this was a problem when I went to university. I never read as few philosophy books as when I was studying philosophy, because it was such a pain to be, I don't want to read Hume in order to say all the correct words in the correct order and then forget about it. I want to understand, what was this guy thinking about? What was he on about? What was this all about? I think that educational ASMR can really help a lot of people, I think. It's also just one other way that I'd like to touch upon that I think it can help, that it helps me a lot, is when I am, approaching some daunting new subject. I wanted to learn programming, for instance. And I was really, okay, this is a big thing. And what I usually do to overcome the sort of hill of, oh, can I do this, and so much information, is to just start reading on the subject or whatever, just explore the subject, but without expecting myself to understand or remember anything. I'll just, read something or watch videos or whatever, and just to get through it, just so that my brain, the next time I encounter this thing or try to study on it, and the next time I read some words, my brain will just go, yeah, I think I heard that before or something. Just like carve out a map, if you will, ASMRctica.
Yeah.
Just a general map so you can orient yourself. I think it can also really, very slow-paced educational ASMR can also help, carve out that map so that when you get more serious about the subject, you are familiar with many things with very little effort. You can do it while you're tired. You can do it while you go to sleep. It's very low cost.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. No, go ahead, Kate.
Oh, yeah. No, I was just going to say that a lot of my viewers tell me that they have autism or ADHD or certain kinds of mental health issues, and what they like is to, again, I think this goes back to rhythm, slowness, soft voice, or a whisper, and that it's easier or more pleasurable, and that they enjoy listening to me relay information that is more accessible because there is no background noise. You can plug your headphones in, feels very personal. So yeah, I have a lot of people like listening to a lot of the historical content, the art history stuff that I do, who have certain issues where if they were in a big, to be honest with you, not dissimilar to myself actually, if they were in a big lecture room with lots of other people, maybe too much noise, too many people, that they wouldn't get, or they wouldn't benefit the same way from the information that I'm kind of giving to them via these videos. So yeah, I think that certainly for mental health and other issues that people have, I think it's a different way of listening to information. It's not even just pleasurable, but it kind of is more accessible as well. Yeah, I just wanted to add that, really.
Great. So we are tight on time here, and I just want to say, so I have 3 more questions. I have just 2 more that I think are really important, and then I have 1 audience question that I think is super essential. How are we on time? Are you guys okay with that? Maybe 15, 20 more minutes? Okay, no great. Problem. Thank you so much. All right, fantastic. So, all right, so let's get into these super, I sort of cut out some of the other ones because I want to make sure we have time to answer these ones fully. So first of all, how do you incorporate the relaxation element into your videos? I think that's really important. Why don't we go with that one?
All I have to say is about that is just the slow pace of speaking. And I've been doing this for almost 6 years now, and I still have to catch myself because, as you guys can tell, I get very focused, laser focused and excited, and I forget to pace myself. And actually, all 3 of you are ridiculously good at that, I just must say. So I think that's really the biggest thing that helps me and that I need to work on still.
Thank you.
Sorry.
4 of you. I'm sorry. I meant to say 4 of you. I apologize.
Okay. Can I go on? Should I go on?
Of course, yeah. Please.
I think I don't think about doing it. I think it comes naturally. I think I should definitely not edit out gaps when I'm editing. Like if I'm looking for a word, or if I'm thinking about something, I don't speak immediately. I include that gap because those gaps are really good when it comes to ASMR. Maybe it's annoying to me because I want it to be like quicker, but I think the audience can enjoy that. If they're falling asleep, they can really go deeper into relaxation during those long gaps. And I think it's actually a good. I'm lucky because I'm not speaking English in my first language, and I'm doing videos. But I'm doing videos in English, so I have it like naturally because I had to look up words.
Yeah, I mean, I don't actually. I just use my normal rhythm of speaking. I think really. I think because the ASMR that I kind of like is generally people who do speak. Sorry, my cat's just walked through into the room. Well, sorry about that. Okay.
No, we love pets here at TingleCon. No, that's. I mean, oh look, that's a beautiful cat right there.
Okay, I've just popped him down. What was I saying? Yeah, so I kind of just use the normal rhythm of my voice. And interestingly, when I first started making videos, I used to edit out all my bloopers. So things like if I mispronounced a word, or I misspoke a word, misread a word, that kind of thing. And people would say to me, no, don't do that, because actually what we like is just to listen to you. So, sometimes I know I've mispronounced something, and I'll just say, oh, sorry about that, didn't mean, and people seem to like that kind of casualness about it. So I'm not reading like a robot, I'm just kind of, I'm reading like, again, going back to what we were originally talking about, which was, I think it's a more naturalistic kind of listening experience that people seem to like on my channel anyway, which is why I don't heavily edit really, although I used to, but now I actually don't. So yeah, there you go. That's it really. I don't really check myself or think about how I'm reading too much now.
For me, I feel so stupid because I had been doing ASMR chess videos for 7 years before I got the revolutionary idea of using an actual chessboard. I just used screen capture because that's, I watch a lot of chess content on YouTube and Twitch, and that's how everybody does it. Everybody, right? Like 100 out of 100 does it that way. And then I just, on a whim, I just recorded like with a real chessboard. And chess is beautiful. Like chess pieces are beautiful, and they make a really nice sound. Wooden pieces, when you clank them together, when one piece captures another piece, when you put it down, when you slide it across the table. And then that video, like that video just exploded, and I got like 10,000 subscribers in 14 days. It was just doubling the size of my channel. It's just like, oh, right, of course. So I try to explore the aesthetics now, and the nice sounds of the chessboards and the way the pieces look. I am starting to shoot more inserts. I don't know if you know that term, where like you shoot close-ups of stuff and make some beautiful shots, because the feedback seems to be really positive. That is very calming. Other than that, I just speak in the same way that I would like to be spoken to when learning about something. Over explaining, being sure that you understand A before I move on to B, or really try to make sure that you understand A before I move on to B. Of course, chess is a very complex game, but yeah, to not lose people that don't have, I don't want people to have to like exercise a lot of brain power. Just okay, pause, rewind. What is that? How does this work? Could just really help people along so they can relax while you watch. Yeah, that's it.
Fantastic. All right, so we got 2 more questions here. I think this is probably our most important question here. It's kind of a 2-parter, and then the last one is probably kind of a more of a softball question. So this next question is, do certain subjects lend themselves to educational, informative ASMR, like history versus science versus culture, travel, language, chess, maps, books? And secondly, do you see a role for ASMR in a more formal education system? Could this be used maybe similarly in the way that video games has become used as their serious gaming and things like that? Could you see ASMR having a role there?
I personally would say astronomy. I guess because it's universal in both senses of the word, because it affects everybody, and it's very. I think the best way I've found to describe it is that it is, unless you're an astronomer, I guess. Again, it's for the same reason I typically don't watch ASMR to fall asleep. At least I do watch it during the day if it's interesting. Is because it is so far removed from our daily sense of things that we are anxious about and worry about, social situations, work, even family responsibilities. To me, that's probably why astronomy fits that category pretty well.
And do you see a role in the formal education system for ASMR?
Yeah, I guess so. In the sense that we were talking about earlier, I think that it's just different ways that people learn differently, and I think ASMR can suit some people very well.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. I mean, my content is generally literature, reading, and historical information and storytelling and that kind of thing. And lots of people, interestingly, don't necessarily listen to my videos for the ASMR tingles. They'll just listen. They listen all the way through as well, which is very nice of them. And they'll kind of, a lot of people listen to my content and use it as a sort of background. So they'll be doing something else and just sort of have me on in the background, but they feel like they're kind of learning something at the same time as feeling relaxed as well, but not necessarily use it in a sort of typically ASMR way, whereas they're not experiencing tingles as such. Right. So yeah, I would say that there is definitely, because we all learn very differently. I know that I personally don't take information in very well in large rooms of people, so big classrooms, big lecture theatres, that kind of thing. I definitely learn better on a one-to-one basis or in small groups and that kind of thing. So, and also I tend to like the sound to be a bit lower, to be less background noise. So yeah, I think it, certain aspects of it could definitely be used in an educational context. Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, I agree totally with that. It's you learn differently, and to listen to in a big, like the traditional way it's not for everyone. So small groups are really good, and this is a really small group because it's just you and another person. It's that type of connection you want to create. And I think a comment that I get quite often is that they say that this was great, I can relax and learn at the same time. So I don't think the topic is I don't think it's any topic is better than the other. I think just the thing that you're passionate about and want to talk about. If you are really passionate about something, then I guess someone wants to listen to it.
Yeah.
I agree very much. Oh, Excuse me.
No, actually, ASMR chess. I just wanted to actually point back to what you were saying earlier. Was that you being very slow and methodical, and sometimes repeating yourself? Because I learned through repetition as well. So when you're talking about chess moves and really cycling through a explanation more than once, even it's very helpful for me.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people are like you, Kate. I'm certainly that way. Big auditorium with a lot of people shuffling papers and being noisy, and somebody in front of you on their laptop playing video games. No, that's not for me. Give me somebody, and as you said, ASMRctica, somebody who's passionate about it, somebody you can feel that they know about it, like deeply they know and they care about it, and then you get infected with their passion and with how much they care, and then it's pleasant. So you maybe, instead of having to chop it up in many bits, you can just in one sitting listen to like 2 hours, like a lecture of 2 hours, and you don't have to watch it multiple times. You get like 99% of it the first time. I also don't think, as you said, ASMRctica, that any topic is necessarily better than any other topic. I don't think so. I think what you touched upon, like the passion, and that's to answer the second part of Nathan's question about if there's a place in formal education. That's also going to be the hard part, because you'll have to find someone. Let's say like you're a university, you want to do a course in philosophy, and you said, okay, we want to teach you all about Hume, because we talked about David Hume earlier. All right, so you have to find somebody who does not have misophonia and gets, hate their own voice, who's extremely passionate about philosophy, who knows enough so the information is accurate. Because that, we all suffer from this. Have you made mistakes in your videos?
Yeah. I
have a video, like my most watched video, I have a mistake in the video, and it's, we talked about responsibility earlier. That's a problem, and nobody can, I hope people are vigilant when they are on YouTube. Don't trust everything, of course. And I, of course, obviously try my absolute best to not make mistakes, but it's very hard to never make mistakes. But if you are doing formal education, you have to meet formal requirements. You have to be very, very accurate. And you need somebody to also film it, to edit it, to make sure that the sound is nice. And so it would require somebody who really wanted this to happen. But I think, if when I was at university, if it had been possible that I could just listen to an ASMR lecture instead, I would have had so much of an easier time. I actually really hated going to university because of the big auditoriums, because of all the stress associated with it, because of the fact that if I didn't quite catch something, if the lecturer was going too fast, then it's gone. I used to record. I had my little Zoom recorder, record all the lectures and go play them back multiple times. And if it had been like a really nice voice and a very nice soundscape, it would have been so much easier for me. So I think there is a place, but I think it would require quite a lot of factors coming together before it could become a reality.
Great. So actually, I just wanted to get into our last question, because we're way over time here. We've had some mishaps throughout the way, but and actually my battery's now low. But so I have a question from the audience, and I think we just got to at least ask one here. And I think this touches on to just a inherently quintessential potential content creator. Just one of their struggles is, maybe they're fearful to start a channel. So this person asks, I want to start a channel, but I'm a little bit scared. What topic should I talk about? I don't have any formal education past high school. That's what this person says.
Talk what you're passionate about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's the best answer. Absolutely.
Absolutely. I think that you come across as far more authentic. If you're talking about the thing that you're passionate about. I wouldn't dream of particularly reading or talking about anything to do with maths or any particular sort of complicated scientific information, because it isn't my passion. It isn't the thing that I'm interested in. And I think people definitely pick up on the fact that you are being authentic, and I think that's part of the experience as well. So talk about what you're interested in. I think that's it, really. And it can be anything, I think, because there's always somebody who's interested in something you're interested in.
Yeah, and then go make a couple of videos. You know, if at first you don't succeed, pick yourself up and try again, or whatever the lyrics are, because then you do some video on something, and then you like get 3 comments, and they all have one thing in common. Yeah. The audio is too low. Like until you get some videos under your belt, you don't really know what it's about. But when you do, and you make the videos and you just, do whatever, it doesn't matter with it. Some people are really, should I have this microphone, that microphone? Doesn't matter. Just do the videos, and then you'll find out what you like. How do you like to present it? What's nice and what works for you? And ASMRctica pointed out that we get a lot of these comments, like he gets a lot of map suggestions. I get a lot of opening suggestions. Can you do on this opening or that opening? Just read those, try it out, try stuff out, and make you do something that you like, that makes you feel good.
Yeah, when I started the channel, I had absolutely no idea that other people would feel. Maybe I knew that people could experience ASMR, but I had absolutely no idea that there were more people than me that enjoyed maps in particular. I thought that was like only me in the whole world. But then when you see that there are other people who enjoy this very narrow topic, they want to see a map, and they get really relaxed by that. So, I mean, it could be anything that you enjoy, and you will see that there will be other people enjoying that too.
Yeah, nothing is too small. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's amazing. That's what YouTube to me has opened up is just, I think our channels are a nice fusion of the general, the more widespread educational YouTube and ASMR. It's just crazy how many people are so good at certain things, and they've never had an outlet until 10 years ago. And now with a $100 phone and a $50 microphone, they can be teaching. They can reach potentially billions of people. It's amazing.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Also, just do it as well. I think. I think don't worry about what it turns out like. As I say, my first couple of videos, when I look back on them, I kind of think, the lighting was terrible, the audio was terrible, I was terrible, but somebody enjoyed it. But I think if you don't make something, you never learn, I think, unless you keep making videos as well.
Yeah. Am I remembering this correctly, that the genesis story for all of our channels was that we just kind of randomly did a video at some point because we had watched the videos, like, I'd like to try that, I'll try that. Some people like that. Okay, cool.
Fantastic. Well, I think that's a really good point for us to end on, because I think a lot of creators people who are potentially creators are fearful. They're worried about putting themselves out in the public and everything, but it is refreshing to hear, just try it out, see what happens. So that all said, thank you all so much for coming and for joining us for this educational, informative panel for TingleCon 2021. Thank you, ASMRctica. Thank you, Library of Whispers. Let's Find Out, ASMR Chess. It's been a true pleasure, and I have no doubt that the audience will find this conversation super enlightening as well. So thank you so much, and have yourselves a good one.